Round 2 of Sports Talk up next with your hosts Phil Kornblut, Will Pelagic, and the Professor Tom Hayes. Don't leave us hanging. Join the show. 800-956-7266.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network. On a National Signing Day deuce night, not nearly the volume of signees and the volume of information that we would have on a ordinary National Signing Day, like National Signing Day Uno back in December. But still, we had some drama. We had some things happening both here locally and around the country that kept me busy from 7 o'clock this morning right up until after Sandage did his thing at 2:30, pretty much wrapped things up and headed over to listen to what Muschamp had to say. Going to hear from Muschamp and from Sweeney here in just a moment. 800-956-7266 is the phone number. So before we get to Bulldog Burt real quick, the composites team ranking by 24/7 has Georgia number 1 ahead of Ohio State. Everybody bemoaned the fact that Ohio State missed on Carmen, but they got the big tackle out of Florida to get to number 2. Texas at 3, Southern Cal 4, and Penn State 5. Clemson comes in at number 6, and Alabama 7, Miami 8, Oklahoma 9, and Notre Dame 10. South Carolina in at number 19.
It's not bad
for the people there at 24/7. This is the composite, so they take, the rankings, I guess, from, I don't know how their composite works, and that I guess you take the rankings of others and average it together, I guess.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. I mean, Rivals uses a different system than the other ones do, right? Rivals is strictly based on, what is it, your number of signees, and when you have a fewer number of signees, your ranking's not going to be as high by Rivals. Am I right about that?
I don't know if it's necessarily that. I think it's more about, again, the overall consensus rankings as far as that goes.
All right, let's bring on Bulldog Burt, number 1 in recruiting, but still number 2 in the national championship game.
Before I get to that, I want to give a report from Saluda, DeQuan Brunson, DeMond Johnson, Sam Padgett, and Ashton Parkman all signed with Newberry today, and I was privileged to be invited to that. Also, Elijah Brown had previously signed with Wake Forest, and it was one of our biggest signing classes we've had in modern era. So I was extremely proud of Saluda this year, and they made it up to the upper state championship. But getting to Georgia,
Did we lose him?
Bulldog. We lost you.
Bulldog didn't pay his phone bill.
Saluda cell tower hadn't been upgraded in a while.
Oh, wow.
All right, thank you, Bulldog. Maybe Bulldog is waiting on that $1,000 check to come in from Dominion to get things upgraded.
Kirby Smart this year.
I'm going to be really ticked off if that don't happen, by the way.
Yeah, Kirby Smart.
Quit messing around with that deal, people.
Kirby Smart had a tremendous defense
that was
this
an unpaid
year,
political
and
announcement.
something that's never going to happen again when you have potentially 2 first-round running backs in the same backfield. Is the pressure on now? Well, you got the number 1 recruiting class. Why aren't y'all back in the national championship?
Yeah. All right, let's go to the coaches. Let's begin with Dabo.
Dabo Sweeney, you got 2 prospects today. Why are you laughing at
Because you made a face.
Dabo Sweeney made 2 signings today. Justin Ross out of Phoenix City, Alabama, and got himself Mario Goodrich out of Lee Summit, Missouri. He said that the process with those 2, he kind of had a feeling about those 2, but it did not necessarily prevent any really sweating or anticipation when it comes to the drama of this National Signing Day.
There's plenty of suspense. Mario, I had a good feel that he was coming. He pretty much told me he was coming, but you just never know. But his parents were very upfront with me. I just think that, he just, wanted to finish the process however he wanted to finish it. But I was pretty confident in him. Justin, I felt like for a long time was coming. the pinky swear on Thursday, that was the bit. When he pinky sweared me, I was like, all right, we're going to get him. You break a pinky swear, then, we probably don't want you. So, now it was, no, there was plenty of drama and plenty of uncertainty. When I left his house on Thursday, I think it was Thursday of last week, I felt confident that we had done everything we possibly could. I'm so proud of Todd and Jeff Scott. Let me just tell you, Todd Bates and Jeff Scott did an amazing job. I recruited the state of Alabama forever. And when I was coaching at Alabama, it's hard to sign players out of that state, even when you're there, much less, to come in out of state. And we've signed some good players from Alabama, but that just, again, shows you where we are as a program. To go into that state, you're 30 minutes or so from Auburn, and Alabama and what they've been able to do and sign the number one player in that state. That tells you the type of young man Justin is, the type of the strength that his family has, because there's a lot of pressure on these guys, and people don't mean bad, but fans can sometimes they want kids to do what's best for them. And but he had a strong support cast around him. Coach DeBose and his wife Tracy were incredibly supportive of just making sure that we had a fair chance in the recruiting process. And Jeff and Todd really, again, to go to this. There's not been many number one players lead the state of Alabama or Ohio, and to be able to get the number one player out of that state says a lot about our program. The young men here, and then again the job that our coaching staff did.
As far as play-wise, can you tell us a little more about what kind of players you feel like you're getting with those two guys that you added today?
Well, Super Mario, he's long. He can. I mean, he's a long corner. He's physical. He's an excellent tackler. He's fast. He's a big-time athlete. This guy had 5 Division I basketball offers. He is a super athlete, and got size potential. So he's just got the explosiveness that you look for. Incredibly high character, very smart, excellent student. So I just think he's a guy that fits well in our program, and he saw that. He was just a pig in mud when he got here. Had never been here, and his family, and they'd been several places. But they pretty much, I think, knew pretty early, like, man, this is it. This is where we're supposed to be. And so, from a football standpoint, he's got everything you could possibly want. Doesn't really have any limitations. I'm anxious to see how he develops. And then Justin he's a full-grown man. He's big, fast, can vertical. I don't know what his vertical is, but it's way up there, and he's got freaky ball skills. Heck, he made a ESPN, top, I think, like legit ESPN top 10 this year. So he's a guy that can, he's in that Mike Williams mode, but an older version of Mike Williams, not the younger version of Mike Williams coming in. He's got a very mature body for this stage.
It's funny you make the Mike Williams comparison right before he says, he's kind of like Mike Williams.
Yeah, Mike was big and strong when he came into Clemson, got bigger and stronger, and, of course, became a number 1 draft pick. So
you kind of make it sound like that Williams was more raw than Ross is, though. He thinks that Ross has got more – he looks like Mike Williams when he came out of Clemson, not necessarily when he arrived at Clemson.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. All right, Dabo Swinney, his comments on – what transpired today for his team and the way the signing class shapes up for 2018. Another excellent class for the Tigers. And it numbers 17 with their 2 signees today. Looking ahead to next year, the Tigers, if they fill up their class, their scholarships overall to 85, which no doubt they will, got 21 seniors now. With the departure of Fuller, that gives them another spot in the senior class. So they've got, at my count, based on where things are now, they've got 21 seniors for next year.
And Dabo did say that they plan on signing a full class of 25 next year after these last 2 were less than the max.
Yeah, well, I would imagine that he would be expecting some of those juniors next year perhaps to possibly leave, like your Dexter Lawrence, who
etc.
could emerge as the number 1 defensive lineman in the country. Back in a moment.
More of your calls are coming up on Sports Talk. Hit us up at 800-956-7266.
It is indeed an SC Wild night here on Sports Talk. Stay tuned for the captain, Billy Downer, coming up at the bottom of the hour. And you can check out foundersfcu.com and learn how they can assist you in all of your financial needs. All right, time to hear from Will Muschamp. Let me tell you a couple of things that he told us, and then we'll hear more from him. The Gamecocks will begin spring practice on February 28th. 13 of the December signees are on campus and going through the early workouts. As far as those who are injured and out for the spring, Bryson Allen Williams, he'll be limited. Jalen Dickerson is out. Antoine Wilder will have elbow surgery. He's out. Mon Denson will be limited. Debo Samuel will be limited. Aaron Thompson will be out with shoulder. Jamias Williams out with a shoulder as well. Levante Valentine still coming off ACL. He is not going to participate right now, but he'll be fine. Wyatt Campbell coming off meniscus surgery, not practicing, but he will go through spring. Ernest Jones has a fracture in his back from high school, they discovered. Will miss spring, will be limited in all offseason programs, but should be fine for the fall.
They got anybody left?
Yeah.
Jeez.
They got 85 of them eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
And today, a good day, getting two more. Two that he wanted. Of course, one of them was already committed, but he got him signed. Sandage was one he really wanted, and he got him committed and signed. Here's Muschamp.
We got better today, and I'll say the same thing every year. We'll know about this class in 2 or 3 years. At the end of the day, you got football's a developmental game, and the recruiting process is the evaluation, the recruitment, and then the development when they get on campus. And that's the process that we're in right now as far as that's concerned when they get here. The last 2 signing classes have produced 18 starters, 2 captains, and really only the second and third captains elected as true sophomores in school history. So it says you something about the character of the guys we've got. 9 contributors. So we the last 2 signing classes have produced a bunch of good football players for us that enable us to continue to make some progress in our program. But Dylan Wallum, 6'5", 320 from Tucker High School, again from Coach Lamar, a guy that I've got tremendous respect for, but very athletic, great balance, body control, guy that from a protection standpoint can set the edge, can play right or left tackle, and a guy that we're really excited about. Of course, we know his brother DJ, Dennis Jr., and his dad, Dennis, and Consuelo, his mom, a great family. Getting to know the Warren family in the 2 years I've been here with Dennis has been awesome. So we're really excited about Dylan. And then Rick Sandage from Concord, 6'5", 285, a very powerful man inside that can, obviously anchor, but he has wiggle enough to be able to slide out, play end in our regular package, very similar to what we've done with some guys before. But an athletic big man that can run, that can push the pocket, he can win in the pass rush, and really have enjoyed the recruiting process with Rick Sr. and Keisha and Brittany, his sister, getting to know that family, and really appreciate them being Gamecocks. But that was a huge emphasis for me going into this process, was on both lines of scrimmage, to improve our quality depth, to get bigger, to get longer, to get more athletic. We signed 5 offensive linemen, 5 defensive linemen, and we hit the explanation point today with Dylan and Ricky.
Explanation point?
Okay. All right. Whatever you say.
We know what he meant.
Okay.
We know what he meant.
Do we?
So anyway, he was very pleased about that. He's very pleased with the players he signed early. Feels like things are moving in a proper direction. Anxious to get this team together and see what it can do in 2018. Here's more from Muschamp today as the media went more in depth about his recruiting campaign of this year and other items in his program.
Dylan Wallum, 6'5", 320 from Tucker High School, again from Coach Lamar, a guy that I've got tremendous respect for, but very athletic, great balance, body control, guy that from a protection standpoint can set the edge, can play right or left tackle, and a guy that we're really excited about. Of course, we know his brother DJ, Dennis Jr., and his dad, Dennis, and Consuelo, his mom, a great family. Getting to know the Warren family in the 2 years I've been here with Dennis has been awesome. So we're really excited about Dylan. And then Rick Sandage from Concord, 6'5", 285, a very powerful man inside that can, obviously anchor, but he has wiggle enough to be able to slide out, play end in our regular package, very similar to what we've done with some guys before. But an athletic big man that can run, that can push the pocket, he can win in the pass rush, and really have enjoyed the recruiting process with Rick Sr. and Keisha and Brittany, his sister, getting to know that family, and I really appreciate them being Gamecocks. But that was a huge emphasis for me going into this process, was on both lines of scrimmage, to improve our quality depth, to get bigger, to get longer, to get more athletic. We signed 5 offensive linemen, 5 defensive linemen, and we hit the explanation point today with Dylan and Ricky.
Will, with the 2 commitments today, both, 4-star, pretty high-ranking guys, just how crucial was it to, like you said, get that exclamation point on the end of this class? Huge.
And at the end of the day, 2 very athletic big men that had offers from everybody in the country, and our guys' staff did a fantastic job of solidifying those guys coming. Felt good about it all along because we had done a nice job in recruiting the guys, and excited they're Gamecocks.
The math is right that you have 2 spots left now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you plan on using them this cycle or holding on to them?
Well, you got to use them in this cycle with the new rules. You can't hold them on to next season, so you got a limit there. So certainly you're always recruiting.
Do you have in mind either of those 2 spots, who it might be? Do you have
absolutely
for one or both of them?
Both of them.
Compared to when the day you took over to today, what's your comfort level with this roster? Not just its talent, but its makeup, your positional balance, your class balance, et cetera.
I think that, numbers wise, we're very good across the board. If you want to look at, generally in terms of, the quarterback position, 4 scholarship players. I believe we have 7 scholarship players at the running back position. We're at 6 at tight end. We're now at 17 or 18 on the offensive line, which you want to be at 15 to 17 there as far as your developmental position. Receiver, I believe we're at 10 or 11. As far as I always look in terms of numbers of 16 big guys up front defensively, a combination of tackle, nose, and buck, guys that can rush the passer. And then 8 or 9 of those need to be inside players totally. And I think we have 9 at this point. I think we're at 7 or 8 at linebacker, 6 at safety, and maybe 6 or 7 at corner. So our numbers are good. We're a little short in the secondary, and we're a little inexperienced going into next year, especially at the safety position in the secondary. So, as far as the numbers are concerned, you're never going to be satisfied, but obviously standing in our all-season program Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week as opposed to 2 years ago is night and day as far as the girth of our football team, the length, the athleticism, the guys that jump out at you athletically, that you feel like at different places I've been that compare very favorably.
Will you be shopping the grad transfer market at all?
Well, I think anytime we can improve our roster, we'll certainly try to.
Mm-hmm. And secondly, coming off a bowl win and a 9-win season, how did you sense the players that you were still recruiting after the bowl season, the reception that you got and the awareness that people now have of your program?
Well, I think that when you go out recruiting and really in our area is more of South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida, in that track of seeing high school coaches and seeing prospects, and there's a very positive buzz about our program right now, but we've got to continue to press it forward, and that's the bottom line. And I like the mentality. Just the 3 days that I've been with our football team, the last 3 mornings have been very good. I see a lot of buy-in, a lot of commitment, and I've been pleased with what we've done so far.
You didn't leave in a little rip that he made on you, unfortunately.
Idiots on message boards. People can't tell.
Don't give them
You
juice.
can't tell when somebody is setting his own self up, knowing exactly what you're going to get. And Muschamp and I have a fine professional relationship. I mean, I don't know what you people expect between the media. I know what you expect. You expect the media today to go, have lunch with your coaches and walk their dogs and take out their garbage.
I thought you were the one who was tying up his boat on Lake Murray, wasn't it?
I mean,
No.
so
Not you.
we have a fine
both sides.
professional relationship, and you know what?
I think
he likes to single me out for whatever reason. That's fine. I got no problem with it. He notes when I'm in attendance and he wants to say something. That is absolutely fine. I take nothing from it. He takes nothing from me. We seem to have a pretty good friendly exchange in my eyes.
Most of the people out there also think that I'm passing the collection plate at New Spring right to Dabo Swinney, but that's not the case either.
It's not? Sure about that?
No comment.
It's time to get wild with SC Wild. Everything hunting and fishing from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources and your host, Phil Kornblut. SC Wild on Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network.
Welcome into the National Signing Night Deuce edition of SC Wild. It's extra special on National Signing Day. Any recruiting going on out there amongst the deer and the bear and the antelope?
There's all sorts of recruiting going on. It's going to be spring soon enough. There'll be turkey recruitment happening very quickly.
Come on, boys. Come over here. Come over here.
That's right. No, the boys will be recruiting the girls. The girls will be recruiting the guys.
Talk about the hunters. Sure. The hunters recruiting them to get them.
Why do you always go to that? You always go to the boom.
Isn't that what we're talking
about? We're
going to
take you to shoot that gun and get that over. I know you have this inside you.
I really do. I feel the need to shoot something.
You want to go get over.
Don't look at me.
You want to get over that fear of that.
No fear.
Yeah, the tennis court incident still is kind of.
Well, let's see. That was roughly 50 years ago.
And I was with Bill this morning.
Were you really?
I was Bill Aston this morning, sure enough, doing at a waterfowl workshop with Clemson Extension in Marion County.
Yes.
Yep. The
How's he
catfish
doing?
farm there.
He's still about 6'3". He's 6'4", big guy.
Yep.
It is good to have the captain, Billy Downer, back with us here on Sports Talk for SC Wild. What are we talking about tonight?
Tonight, we're wrapping up waterfowl season. Season ended. For most folks, it was slow, kind of painful after January with the freeze we had. There was some limited success, a glimmer of hope at the end. We had our Youth Waterfowl Day, Federal Youth Waterfowl Day this past Saturday. Please remember this Saturday is the second and last Federal Youth Waterfowl Day. If anyone wants to hunt, youth can hunt waterfowl on this day if they're 17 or younger. If they're age 16 or 17, they must have a license. They must have their stamp, migratory bird permit, federal waterfowl stamp. Daily bag limits and possession limits are the same as the regular duck season. Any youth age 17 or younger must be accompanied by an adult age 18 or older. So that is the rules for Youth Day this Saturday. A lot of our waterfowl impoundments across the state open up to youth. That's a big deal. Again, for hunter recruitment, talking about recruitment, it's always recruiting day when it comes to our young hunters, and the youth days are designed to give them a chance to have fun on a day that's designed around them.
Are you finding more and more young people picking up a gun?
We are absolutely working very hard at teaching young people about the outdoors through our shooting sports program. You know how popular our shotgun sports are. Last month we had 405 shoot at our trap event. That was off the chart. A great event. So a lot of young people are getting into shooting sports. We're teaching core safety, discipline, all those things, again, translate back in the classroom and make them a lot of times better students because of the focus and discipline it takes to be on the field to hit targets. That same focus discipline can work in the classroom. They focus as well.
You find that the youth prefer shooting waterfowl, birds, or they prefer deer hunting?
You know, for a young person or any young hunter who hasn't ever hunted before, deer hunting is one of those things. Sometimes it just depends. Depends on their attention span. That's why a dove hunt a lot of times, or a quick waterfowl hunt in the morning, short, easy, come in, come out. They fly, they don't. You come back in. Waterfowl hunting, typically cold weather, sometimes we'll shut some youth off from that, particularly young ones. Don't take them too early. But deer hunting is that one you can sit in the stand, you can hide them, they can move around. That's the easy part about deer hunting. You can put them in a blind where they can actually move around.
It's more of an event.
It is, and you get to see a lot of things. You can, you might not see a deer that you're going to take that afternoon, but you might get to see some squirrels. You might get to see an owl. You might get to see some turkeys. You might see a coyote. Lots of wildlife out there when you're in the deer stand for sure. So always, there's never a bad day in the stand.
So with waterfowl season wrapping up,
yes,
what's beginning?
Well, one of the things we're going to talk about tonight will probably drift into the second segment for sure. A lot of concern. Everybody knows we had cold weather this past January. Very cold weather, 9 degrees a couple of days. We had some snow in Charleston. And as a result of that cold weather, some of the coast and our coastal waters, actually, the temperature in the water got down to 42 degrees in some areas and even lesser in some of the backwater, saltwater estuaries. So because of that, we have had some fish kill, and that alerts a lot of people. So a lot of anglers on the coast have been calling in, reporting to our marine fishery section that they have, they've noted fish killed. And so DNR has been out checking on that. It's a lot of concern, particularly with spotted sea trout. The spotted sea trout live in shallow water estuary areas. They never go to deep water. So cold weather will really affect that population quicker because they're in shallower water, and shallower water will get colder faster, of course, than deep water. And because they're in that shallow water, it can affect them, and there have been kill-offs in the past. So has there been a fish kill? Yes, there has been one. Is this the first one that's ever happened? No. It's happened plenty of times before, and our fish population has rebounded. Is it a concern? Yes.
But I was going to say,
anytime.
if it happens naturally, right? I mean, that's a little more acceptable than if, say, some pesticide or something had leaked into the water and was killing the fish, right?
Right. Again, you're right. It is a natural occurrence. It gets cold. It doesn't normally get as cold as it got last month. We know that. It doesn't normally get to 9, 10 degree and stay that way for a couple of days. When it gets in the teens in South Carolina, we all know that's cold.
Yeah.
And if it stays in the teens for a long enough period of time, the water temperature begins to drop. And that's what you have a problem with fish, because fish can't, certain species cannot take that cold drop, particularly in salt water. So we did have some fish kill. I've talked to the marine folks from Marine Division. Here are the facts that I can tell you right now. Following the steep and rapid decline in temperatures, Charleston Harbor reached an average daily low of 42 degrees Fahrenheit on January the 7th, with temperatures dropping even lower in shallow tidal creeks. Temperatures remain low for several days. As a result, there have been confirmed reports of fish kills in areas along the coast, not just sea trout, but also some red drum, sheepshead, and black drum. But this cold snap and resulting fish kill, again, is not unprecedented. It's happened before, and our fishery has recovered quite well.
And what is the DNR position on, like, if you come across a fish who is already dead? I'm sure you probably basically just leave it alone.
Leave it alone, because, again,
you can't scoop it up and count it as a catch.
In the saltwater, you don't want to. In the saltwater environment, everything is food for something. So it'll provide food for something else. The crabs, all the way down the food chain.
What about the shrimp and oyster beds? And
absolutely shrimp.
Yeah.
I'm looking at one of the impact messages that got out from our Marine section. So they're talking about including, again, sustained water temperatures below 48 degrees Fahrenheit can injure or kill many marine species, including white shrimp. So they are watching that as well. It's the DNR staff are taking steps to protect any surviving white shrimp, which are prolific spawners that can recover quickly. There's the key, and shrimp can spawn quickly and recover this coming spring when they spawn. So again, but here's the thing. If you're riding around the boat and you're fishing and you look and there's dead fish floating everywhere, that's going to unnerve anybody. That's just not something you want to see, is dead fish. And our anglers, to their credit, are reporting that. They're concerned about it. As fishermen, we all should be concerned when we see a fish kill like that. So this is not a bad thing to report. The question is, how bad is it? You know, how bad is the fish kill? It got very cold. So that's one of the things, and the anglers start asking, should we shut the fishery down? You know, should we shut this fishery down? Well, a lot of factors to consider when you start saying shut the fishery down. You can't catch any spotted trout right now. It's too low. Well, we don't know that the population is that low. In fact, people are catching fish again right now. We had reports of fishermen having success with the sea trout now. Here's a couple facts to remember, though. This past fall, if you remember on the show, it wasn't every time we talked on the show, I was talking about how great the sea trout catch was, because it was outstanding. In fact, in some cases, it was off the chain. For most people, they hadn't caught sea trout like that in years. So we had a tremendous fall season with trout. So the population was high. So that's good. Doesn't mean you want it to fall, but the population was high. So you had that going here. You had the cold weather hit. So we've had some sort of fish kill here. But at the same time, it's January, February, March. These are the slower fishing months. So after the break, we'll continue to talk about where we're going with that and what other factors play into this, that things are looking good for the fishery.
And as it warms up, it's going to pick up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. We will continue. It's an SC Wild Night here on Sports Talk. Have a question or comment for the captain, you can join us 800-956-7266. If you want to email us, talkback@sportstalksc.com, or a question on Twitter @SportsTalkSC. We'll be right back.
It's time to get wild with SC Wild. Everything hunting and fishing from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources and your host, Phil Kornblut. SC Wild on Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network.
We're the hosts, but Captain Billy Downer is the star of SC Wild here on Sports Talk. All right, so we're talking about dead fish. And
thank you, Corn. Thanks for alerting us again.
Speaking of dead fish, here's Captain Downer.
All righty then.
What you got?
Well, continuing on the sea trout with the concern on the coast there. Again, we had a high population, a lot of good fishing in the fall, followed by now we've had this cold weather. It's a slower time of year, January, February, March. People aren't fishing as much in that fishery, so not a lot of pressure. As well as December through February, sea trout can't be taken by any other means than rod and reel. So the pressure on that fishery is not as much right now. So it allows them time to recover. Again, we've had reports of fishermen that are catching trout in numbers. The thing right now for us, when you look at this, our opportunity to catch trout's limited. Other states like North Carolina in the past, they have shut their season down because of things like this. But they've got another factor we need to consider, and they have a commercial netting industry that fishes for these trout. We don't allow that in South Carolina. So our fishery is a little bit more, is a little safer when you think about that. So moving forward right now, DNR is asking anglers, if you catch sea trout, release them. The old let them spawn, let them live phrase comes out. So right now we're continuing to monitor it. They're monitoring the trout situation up and down the coast. In the next weeks, if anybody sees or has any reports of dead fish, please call our Marine office at Fort Johnson and let them know. They'll want to know that. Again, precautionary measure, asking anglers to just catch and release. Let them go. Outside of sea trout, a lot of buzz right now for red drum on the coast. The red drum fishery in South Carolina is important, as it is in a lot of states. You hear all about it in Louisiana, but here in South Carolina, red drum are important here as well. Every year in our state, 450,000 people purchase a saltwater stamp, which means a fishing stamp. So you could roughly say 450,000 people are fishing in saltwater in our state each year. That's a lot of folks. And one of the number one fish that they go after is red drum. People from out of state, in-state come to fish in our red drum fishery. So
why is that?
They are a signature series. They're one of those fish that people want to go catch. They want to go, if they don't know how to do it, they're going to go hire a guide to do it. Particularly large red drum, your 38-inch plus, 36-inch.
More popular than, say, flounder or mackerel? Or...
Yes.
Really?
Absolutely. Because is it just the fight? It's such a fight with those fish. It's a lot of fun inshore. And the opportunity. We have a great opportunity to catch good red drum in our state because we have that slot limit in the state. Slot limit being the size fish you can catch. So red drum slot limit is a good thing, but DNR has identified the red drum as a species that has been overfished. From reports we're getting now in the last few years. Again, we went to a 3-fish limit several years ago, increased it from 2 to 3, and now we feel like that these fish are being overfished. So because of that, DNR has recommended to our General Assembly, who's in session right now, that the daily bag limit be reduced from 3 fish per day to 2 fish per day. So from 3 back down to 2, and then establish a boat limit of 6 fish. And the boat limit just protects you. So if you got 3 or 4 guys in a boat, you got 4 guys in a boat, you're limited to 6 fish. Sometimes party groups go out and fish together, and it just helps protect the fish. If you have a party, go out and fish to limit it to 6. If it's just 3 guys in the boat, everybody gets their limit of 2.
Sure.
But it's another measure to protect the red drum. But red drum, again, it's the fish. A lot of people go to Louisiana and love the red drum fish, sea trout, Louisiana as well. But in our state, they've been popular in the same time.
How's it taste?
Great. Now, to me, the trout is probably better than the red drum. But black drum, red drum, all the drum species to me are good tasting. In fact, I like black drum a little better. Red drum tends to have they have a red line in that lateral line, the red meat, just kind of like a striped bass. People that eat striped bass are familiar with cutting that red line out. Red meat is just very oily.
You have a particular recipe you like to use with the red drum?
Yes, cut those in small chunks. House Autry medium hot batter.
Okay.
House ostrich is my favorite.
Yeah.
Now, some people like to do their own cornmeal batter, but I like house ostrich, and the medium hot just gives a little bit of a kick to it.
Deep fry for about 3 minutes.
Deep fry. Yep.
But you like to cook them. You cook them in chunks. You don't cook them.
No, not big slab. Cook them in chunks, little bite-sized chunks. To me, they're better that way. Flounder, people typically cook flounder in your fillets, but your red drum are so thick, it's better to cut those in little chunks so they cook even. I mean, you can put a big slab on there.
Now, if you wanted to bring the cooker one night and put on an exhibition of
another exhibition, I would probably have to bring one of my best friends. I'll give him a shout out. Morgan Watts, probably one of the best fish cookers I know.
Well, you need to bring old Morgan in to visit us one night. In fact, we should just let you take a night off and let him come in here.
Put that down
and cook.
Yeah, he
but
is
nothing exotic. Let's stay away from the exotic stuff. Let's stay with the
I
more
like exotic. I want to see you eat
He
frog
wants the
legs.
gator. Now, last time you liked the gator.
I didn't say I liked the gator. I said it tastes like chicken.
Oh,
I love gator. I love gator. I love gator. I love frog legs. You kidding me?
had gator. We had doves, and
we had.
I wasn't here, so I couldn't
I
tell.
think that was it. I think you just
gator,
brought.
but you said it wasn't bad. That was your comment. It wasn't bad.
I mean, I was forced to eat it.
Gator makes me think of clam.
Right. We held his
Figuratively
mouth open
speaking,
and
I had a
shoved
gun
it
to
down
my
his
head.
mouth. Yeah,
Gator meat
exactly.
tastes like clam strips to me. I love that.
Gator meat does have kind of a, and here we go again. We always revert back to the alligator. Somehow in this show, we're going to go to the alligator.
Yeah.
How are the gators doing out there, by the way?
It's cold.
Has the cold killed any of them all?
They're up in a hole, hidden up and hibernating.
Are they waiting to pop out here in the spring?
When it gets warm, they'll come out. Don't you worry.
Are we going to see some Jim Dandies out there, you think, this year?
Of course you will.
Yeah.
But gator meat has that fishy consistency. Every time they thaw gator meat out, it smells like fish. It has a kind of a soft, really, it's not like chicken at all. It has sort of fishy. Yeah, a little fishy, more but fishy and flaky in there. But when you cook it, again, the old tastes like chicken. It doesn't taste just like chicken. It has a little bit more of a chewier.
Almost like calamari, kind of.
I'm not big on calamari.
You don't like calamari?
Oh, I love calamari.
That's why I don't understand. You don't like gator.
You are a high echelon guy. You would like something
because
like
that's what I
calamari.
get in the restaurant. I say, hey, bring the table some calamari and some onion rings, okay? And it all works out well.
That didn't work well for Tony Soprano at the end, though.
What happened? He died on calamari?
You haven't watched The Sopranos.
That was like the Last Supper.
The last episode.
Yeah.
He ordered from the table.
Don't you hate people that always refer to TV shows and movies that help them make a point because they just don't have the brain power to make the point on their own?
I have plenty of brain
See,
power.
I can make a point without referring to a television show or a movie. What else you got for us?
Well, again, it is February, mid-February. We've got our state skeet and trap competition this weekend. We've got
where's that going to be?
That'll be at the Palmetto Shooting Complex in Edgefield, the NWTF, National Wild Turkey Federation. 180 of our top skeet and top trap shooters will be showing up. Again, Friday is our trap competition.
Have we had our high school state championship archery?
We have not. We are doing regionals now.
Okay.
We just had a regional in Myrtle Beach. Our next regional next week is coming up for Anderson.
See, I'd like to take Will to Sumter. Is that where the champion's going to be?
Absolutely.
And he can wear that red shirt and we can get some white paint and we can.
Oh yeah,
he could be a target.
No, we're not doing that.
Paintball? No,
we would love to look to have
paintball. This is arrows, baby.
But don't forget a couple of big events coming up.
Yeah.
Next weekend, the Southeastern Wildlife Exposition. Big weekend in Charleston for wildlife lovers.
That is huge, isn't it?
Yes. Big
Where's it
outdoor
taking place?
show. That'll be in Charleston, all across Charleston, downtown Charleston. There'll be people everywhere.
Just don't put a gun.
We'll be at Brittle Bank Park with our brand new Take One, Make One heritage trailer, unveiling that with our conservation exhibit that will be highlighting the success of the wildlife restoration in South Carolina.
That is fantastic.
Absolutely. So
Well,
we
shall
hope to see you
in Charleston. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
That's good.
And hopefully it's going to warm up and these little fish will reproduce and there'll be plenty of fish out there for everybody.
Absolutely.
You boys in the ocean, get busy. All right, let's get her done. Thank you, Captain. Have yourself a great 2 weeks. Thank you, Will.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Brian. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.